You're familiar with karma, right? The whole cause and effect thing. Do a bad thing, do a good thing. Well, also, karma is the guy on the Chiefs. Am I right? Show of hands. Who's a Swiftie here, huh? People, the TED Talk speakers, they love doing that. The show of hands bit. Show of hands, huh? Raise your hand. If you've ever experienced your boss not fully believing your potential at work, show of hands. Who do we have? Yeah, a lot of hands raised. A lot of hands raised. I know it's a sensitive topic, so there's probably more people that don't have their hands raised. We'll just round up, say the whole crowd had their hands raised. But that's work, right? Work life balance. You got to have a little bit of life. So, life. Who's here? Show of hands. Who's here with their spouse? Okay, yeah, sing a lot of that. That's fun. Nice. Now, let's keep those hands raised if you are cheating on your spouse. Okay. Now, guys, I said if you are. Okay, nope. Basically the same hands. Wow. I shouldn't be surprised, though, because a lot of these conferences are like a khaki fuck fest. You guys go away at these things not for the finger food in the hallway, but for the finger food back in the hotel room, if you know what I mean. That's right, salads on the menu. You're trying to toss it. But karma, right? It's that whole idea of cause and effect. Let's think about it like a jar of marbles. Let's say you have a set amount of marbles. It's like half full, this jar. And for every good thing you do, you get added a jar. And for every bad thing you do, well, a marble gets taken. Oh, you don't add a jar. So you add a marble to the jar. And then for every bad thing you do, you take a marble out of the jar, right? And then if you do enough bad things, well, then your jar is empty and you die. It's like running out of lives in Mario. You have to start all the way at the beginning. Except, I don't know what happens in real life. I think you just keep going. I think you hit a rock bottom. You post on social media about like, oh my God, this is my new low. And then you quickly discover, oh no, it goes deeper. But karma, right, is this idea. I think you're familiar with it. I don't need to explain it. But it got me thinking that people that believe in karma, right, you would assume that they're good people. If they know that this system exists, right, if they believe in karma, they'd probably be more inclined to do the right thing. But then I thought about it, and I was like, wait a minute. If you do a lot of good things, then you could be like, oh, that's a good person, right? That's like the textbook definition of a good person. But if you're a mature human being, I think you understand that even good people can do bad things, right? And even bad people can do good things. So even though someone's doing a lot of good, does that make him a good person? There's a lot of news right now on the internet. People are like, oh, there's a Pedro Pascal smear campaign going on. You know, people are really up in arms about him being all over Vanessa Kirby's arms and other stuff. There's this thing he talked about where he gets very anxious. And so he often has to, find consolation in, some comfort by touching his co-stars, who happens to be, in this case, Vanessa Kirby, he's gotten very close to, in the Fantastic Four press run. But I don't think he's a bad guy. I think some people are like, oh, he's a piece of shit. I knew it. I knew it. I posted about him back in 2016, and now all of it is coming to the air. Are you also familiar with the idea of Occam's razor? Occam's razor is basically the idea that the most simple explanation is often the correct one. I think that's true here too. I think Pedro Pascal is just a good guy. I think people just feel comfortable around him, right? You see all his co-stars. They have nothing but good things to say about him. Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, my boy EBM, right? Evan Boss. What is that his name? Evan Moss? EMB. That's my guy. And then even when he was doing the Materialist press run, Dakota Johnson, what is Captain Rogers, Steve Rogers' name? Chris Evans? They all seem to love Pedro Pascal. But the public opinion has changed on him. It's shifted. But that's where I say I think we employ Occam's razor. I think people are just cool with him because he's a good guy. I don't think he's a creep. But this idea of karma I just explained made me rethink everything. I was like, wait a minute. Maybe all these things he does, right? He's an activist in the best way possible. Pro-Palestinian, pro-trans. I'm like, maybe all these good things he does actually means he's an evil person because he's trying to overcompensate. He's like, I've done so much bad that I have to now do extreme good. And that's why everyone likes him, but no one understands he's actually evil. So Pedro Pascal, I think, may have done terrible things, and this is just him overcompensating. It's not a stretch to say that. See what I did there? That's a little fantastic humor for you. Come on, we have fun here, don't we? But no, this is a thing, right? I feel like I do this in my day to day life. I'm like, someone drops a plastic bag, it starts rolling through the wind, just as Katy Perry foretold, and I'll try to put my body in front of it. I have this big build, I have this big, you know, muscular build. I want to use that for good. I want to stop people's bags from flying away. And so, I don't do that because I'm like, well, now I can do a bad thing. I do that because it's the right thing to do. But an added benefit is now I can do a bad thing. It's transactional, really. These actions we do. If you do a good thing, now you can do a bad thing. It's kind of like if you eat your fruits and vegetables, well, now you can have a little more dessert, right? That's how it works. Or else, what would be the point of eating those things if not for there to be a payoff? Like if you do charity and you do the Christmas tree pickup around the holiday time, maybe you do the what is it? Salvation Army, maybe prepare some Thanksgiving food baskets for people. Well, now, yeah, you can murder someone. There is a certain point, right? It's probably a lot of food baskets you got to prepare, right? A lot of secret Santas where you just show up to give a gift and you don't take a gift. That's not a thing, but a charitable fellow would find a way to partake in such a way. But it would cost a lot of good things to be able to kill. It's kind of like you ever go to an arcade and you go play for like 3 hours and then you go to the prize station and you're like, oh, I can only buy like 3 Tootsie Rolls. How the fuck is that possible? But it is. That's all you can buy. And then you look up at the very top and there's dust all over it. And it's an Xbox, like the original Xbox, because still no one's paid for that. Because really, to buy that Xbox, it takes like $80,000 worth of tickets. It would be easier just to buy an Xbox. So you can technically do it, right? You can technically kill someone. You can technically get an Xbox, an arcade gift shop. It'll just take a lot of tickets. So you have to spend the time doing the right thing before you can indulge. Maybe not the best word when we're talking about killing. But you understand what I'm saying, right? You're trying to afford this lifestyle, right? That's why people start dealing drugs. No, that's why people like do money laundering and fraud and stuff like that, right? Because they realize this lifestyle that they live, they won't be able to sustain it unless they somehow find some extra form of income. And so then that's why they do all these maybe illegal, questionable things. I think that's why Pedro Pascal is actually such a great guy, because he's such a terrible guy. It all makes sense now. Interesting. He's playing a stretchy man. That makes sense, because he's a man that's been stretched in the truth. The truth being that he's some great guy. But no, it doesn't matter how much DNA he has, similar to Reed Richards. He's not as good as he sounds. You know what? I back this smear campaign. Let's keep it going, people. But no, Reed Richards, that's funny, right? That's like having social awareness in a gay bar. Because to have social awareness, you need to read a room. And in a gay bar, there are only Richards, if you know what I mean. So yeah, let me know. What do you think? Do you think that's the idea of karma? Did I get it right? Because I could have sworn it was the other thing, right? That if you do really good things, you're a good person. But this Pedro Pascal character has flipped it on its head for me. I don't know what to believe now. I think there should be a way to punish myself in front of the Noah's Bagels workers. I went to Noah's Bagels recently because they have this cool, like, what is it called? It's like a Maple House egg sandwich. It's so good. It's like a French toast bagel sandwich. Oh my God, it's got eggs, bacon, sausage. I think they pour this nice, like, cream in the inside. I don't know what it is, but it tastes like French toast creamified, which is a ugly combination of words, but it's what happened. And it was in my mouth. But I was there. I went to a Noah's Bagels at about 1:20 p.m. If you're not familiar with Noah's Bagels, they close at 2 p.m., 40 minutes after I arrived. I believe their hours every day, I want to say it's like 7 a.m. to like 2 p.m. every day. Maybe it's like 5 a.m. I don't know. They close at 2. I showed up at 1:20. And, I went in and they were already starting to clean stuff up. And they still take your order, right? Because they're open for the next half hour and some change. But I don't think they're happy about it. Because they just went through an entire morning of people that eat at Noah's Bagels. I don't need to paint that picture. I think you got it. And so I go up and I give my order, and the lady, I don't blame her, but she just seemed pissed off that I even showed up. And I was like, this sucks. This is like a lose lose situation for both of us. Because there's, nothing I can do to make her day better. And there's, nothing she can do to like somehow not feel the effect of dealing with all these Noah's Bagels goers for the past 6-ish hours, maybe. So I was like, this is terrible. There's got to be something here. There's not even enough like conversation I could have to make her day better. So I thought about it and I'm like, well, what could I do? I was like, I would have to be in misery. The only way to make that person better is by introducing the theory of relativity. A lot of theories today, huh? A lot of phrases. But I was like, the only way to improve her day is to show her someone with a way worse day. So I was like, there should be a way for me to like punish myself. I don't know what that would be. I don't know. I didn't think about it that far, but maybe one thing they could have, right? And maybe one of those glass cases, where they say break in case of emergency. I think they should have one of those right next to the cash register and should have a comically large hammer that I can hit myself in the head with. I can make that bonk noise, and then a big that big red anthill looking thing will pop out of my head, and then there'll be Tweety birds spinning around it, and I'll be unconscious. I think that would brighten her day. And I think it's criminal that I don't have a option to do that. All I can do is go up there and be like, yeah, can I get one Maple House egg sandwich? She's like, yeah. We're out of the normal bagels because you showed up at fucking closing time. So which bagel do you want? I'm like, oh. And I have the audacity. Which one would you recommend? Oh my fuck. Just which one do you want? Look at the fucking thing. Which one do you want to eat? Okay? You're a human. You seem old enough to have eaten a few breakfasts in your days. Maybe a few too many. That waistline looks like it's pushing itself to the brink. All right, easy. I don't need the color commentary. I'll just take the cinnamon raisin bagel. Is that it? Well, you're not going to believe this. No, there's another thing. I'll also take a small iced caramel macchiato. Of course. Of fucking course. Now there's 2 machines involved. I feel like an asshole. You see? I go and do this to these people. Ordering 2 things like that. What am I doing? They're dusting the floors behind me. And I went up there with a straight face and was like, can I get a small iced caramel macchiato? What? Sorry? Nope. You heard it correctly. I want exactly what I asked for. Somehow. So I just think there should be like, yeah, that option for me to like hurt myself. Yeah, I don't like the way that's phrased. We'll come up with something better. But I think there should be an option like that. And speaking of putting things in my mouth, all right, interesting segue. Gauruv, you had nothing better there? No, I think that's about the best I could do. I've been really indulging in dill pickle flavored Lays. I don't know if these have been around for a while, but dill pickled. Sorry, what was that? Were you eating chips or your words there, bud? Okay, my bad. I was eating chips, dill pickle flavored Lays, and they are very good. Again, I don't know if they've been around for a minute, but I just met them, and I'm going to act like I'm the first. I invented them. Yeah. No, I discovered these dill pickle Lays, and I want to tell other people, like, they don't exist in the world, too. But they're very good. They're great with a sandwich. Not in the sandwich, but just on the side. This is that cutting commentary you tune in for, right? I had some chips. They're good alongside a sandwich. Okay, nice. I'm glad this guy doesn't get paid for this. What? Hey, whoa. He should be paying me to listen. You know what? That's actually a really good point. And I am. I'm paying you this great information, which is that dill pickled flavored Lays are great. The lemon Lays, that flavor, those are too much. Too strong of a flavor profile, too salty. I don't like it. I've also found that I can only say that word like that. De lemon Lays, I have to say it like that. I can't say it any other way. It's kind of like those people that go to like Taco Bell and then they say quesadilla with a little bit of spice on it. The quesadilla, and you're like, all right, easy. You just ordered 2 Cinnabon Delights. You can't say quesadilla like that and then do that, okay? You ordered a cinnamon roll in a coffee form, along with a little testicle-looking cinnamon balls. So don't say quesadilla. Fucking just say quesadilla. In fact, say quesadilla. That seems more your speed. But I unfortunately have the same disability, I suppose, which is I have to say lemon. Every time I talk about lemon Lays, I have to say lemon. Or else I feel weird. But I've gotten unsweet. I used to be sweet on the lemon, but now I'm bitter on the lemon. I like the dill pickle lays. Those are very good. They're so subtle, you know? I don't love a dill pickle, like recreationally, but in terms of flavor, I like what they got going on. I like what they did with the place. Yeah. Yeah, okay, Dill. Mr. Dill or whatever, Mr. Pickle. If I may call you that, please call me Dill. I might. I just might. Dylan. Okay, well, let's not push it. Sorry. But speaking of chips, I feel like there's sexual tension when you're straightening out a bag of chips or cookies. You ever see those little, like, the ones you take on like a trip when you travel? Those little, right? You used to have them at lunch maybe when you were growing up. Those Keebler's fudge strips? Those little cookies? They come out with a little pack of them, right? You would think they're like 100 calories, but they're not. They're like 270 or something. But those little bags of like chips or cookies, I feel like there's a lot of sexual tension when someone's bottoming one of those out. You ever see that? Someone will, be going in with their fingers, and then they get to the bottom of the bag and they do that thing where they straighten it out and they tip it back. And I don't know why. When they straighten that bag out, even the sound it makes, stuff, you're like, oh my goodness, wow, whew. When it gets taut, it gets hot, when they straighten that sucker out, I don't know, something about it. And then they tilt their head back and they throw it down. I'm like, wow, that was, oh my God, do I have to pay? Like, that was kind of a performance now. I feel like we're closer now that I experience you do that. But I realize, yeah, there is like this weird sexual tension. Maybe maybe I've lost you. Show of hands. Who in the audience gets sexual tension off chips? The dill pickle lays even? No? Okay, just me. But I find that, yes, when you straighten out a bag of chips, something about it. Because it's such a, like, it's such a, you're in command. It's such a dom move. Okay. Yeah, that submissive little bag of chips. But no, it's like, it feels dirty in nature, does it not? It's like, okay. Nope, I was about to elaborate further, but that's a weird look behind the curtain, isn't it? But it feels like, I'll leave you just with this. When you straighten the bag of chips like that, it feels like when someone, like, does that thing with a belt where they, they kind of straighten it out like that and it cracks upon itself. That's what it feels like. And then, yeah, the action where they, like, take it with the two hands and they, whoop, tilt it back. There's something there. I don't know. It doesn't do anything for me. I'm just saying there is an energy there. I'm just observing, okay? You can't knock a guy for just seeing, right? Everyone can look these days, but few can see. It takes a special eye, a keen eye to see things, okay? A lot of lookers, not a lot of seers. So I'm just saying, with someone, right, blessed with the ability, I just want to point out to you, I see a lot of, I see a lot of heat. The kitchen heats up when I see someone bottom out a bag of sun chips, What are we doing? What is going on? Is what I say when I see someone eat a bag of chips. And you can even do it, yeah, with the cookies like I was talking about. You ever see those circus animal cookies? Those feel bad. I used to really like those when I was younger. I still like them, but they carry that idea of like, oh, there's forever chemicals in these. Like, why are these this color? And why do they have these sprinkles? And why do they expire in 18 months? They shouldn't have that shelf life, right? And then you Google, right? You find them in your pantry like 6 months after they expire. So now, they're 2 years old. And you're like, are these still good to eat past the expiration date? And a lot of people are like, no, you can eat them. The flavor is just not as good. I'm like, no, see? I don't think I should eat them, though. They're like, no, it's like technically safe. I'm like, is it? Even when they weren't expired, is it safe? I don't know. I'm only 26, turning 27 later this year, but there's gotten to a point now where there are things I eat where I'm like, that isn't a naturally occurring color in nature, is it? So should I be putting it inside me? Because it's just going to like stay around there, right? Like a squatter. It's just going to be like, well, I got nowhere else to go, so I'm just going to stay here. I'm like, no, you got to leave, man. I invited you for like a fun night, right? I thought it'd be a good idea. But you're still there. You need to get off the premises, okay? You can't just chill. They're like, no, but literally I can't. I chop my legs off. I'm like, what? So you're really stuck in there? They're like, yeah. I'm like, shit. Well, that's me. You're inside of me. See? And you're telling me there's nothing sexual about those little bags of cookies? Even the word cookie. Anyways. That's crazy. Someone snaps open a bag of Keebler's fudge strips and then they go, "You want a cookie?" And you're like, "Whoa, hey, we're in a public picnic area. All right, don't say shit like that to me. There's families around, okay? I don't want to be on a list unless it's Santa's nice list, which I think I've single handedly taken myself off of recording this podcast episode. But let me know. Do you feel that way? No, Garb, go ahead. Ask your full question. No, I don't think I want to. No, go ahead. What question are you asking? I'm asking, do you feel the sexual tension of snapping a bag of chips at the bottom, right? Where it goes, that's what I'm asking. Okay. I'm not ashamed of that. It's a general curiosity. More stories about going back to the office. I went on the office, like I said, before we fully return in September. I still go in like once or twice a week, and I was there just this last week. And I saw a gentleman, right? People are trying to condition themselves to come back on site. And I saw a gentleman with a black t shirt. And all it said, in kind of that graffiti font, that stencil font. You ever see that? Where it's like that stencil frame you put, and then you like spray paint and it's letters that's like, in the middle of the letter, there might be like a line. That kind of font, stencil font. There was a guy in a black t shirt, and in white stencil font, it said in big letters, Dad Bod. And he was wearing sandals. They were closed toed sandals and a orange bandana. And I was like, that's technically, I guess, one of my coworkers. Isn't that interesting? So yeah, there's gonna be a lot more of that. I look forward to it. I, I forget that there are people in the world. Do you ever do that? Like you're so in your own world, and then you go out in public, and then you see some people behave, and you're like, oh wait a minute, we all just like watch the same shows and stuff. This is an interesting idea I'm conveying. Like a lot of people on TikTok, they call this sonder. The idea that you understand that other people are also living a life. That's not what I'm saying. It's not that. It's just that like the way they dress and the way they act. I'm like, oh, that's all you're deciding that. Okay. Interesting. No, cool, cool, cool. Yeah. I mean, the same way I chose to wear white socks, you're wearing an orange bandana. Interesting. It's interesting how that works. People also, yeah, again, speaking about decisions people make, I went to a sandwich place this week. Someone used two $50 bills. I had to Google. I'm like, are those even real? I don't remember seeing a $50 bill. That's the old Mandela effect. Where I'm like, if you just asked me before that instance, does a $50 bill exist? I'd be like, yeah. And then I'd think about it for a second. I'd be like, but when's the last time I've seen one? And then I would really start to question myself. But in that moment, I was presented with physical evidence that they exist, and I still was like, no way. Is that real? And I was like, and what are you doing? A sandwich shop? How much sandwich did you order? Did you order a lot of sandwiches? And then they brought him out a whole tray of personal sized snack bag chips. And I was like, oh, you dirty freak. Because you get more options to bottom out a chip bag. If you buy the small size than the family size, I'm going to get off the chip thing. I bet you will get off to the chip thing. I didn't say get off to. I said get off the chip thing. Easy. But yeah, someone paid with $50 bills. I was like, where did you even get those? That's like asking, right? You can go to the bank, apparently, I think, and ask for $2 bills. But you got to really, it's a deliberate thing. I don't think you just end up with $50 bills the same way, $2 bill. I think you have to like go and seek that out. Like, because what, did you get that as change? What were you buying where $50, two $50 bills were given as your return currency? Because usually when you go to the bank, right, you might get out a bunch of 20s. Why are you traveling around with 50s? A lot of drive-thrus even say we don't accept any bill over 20 after 10 p.m. Or in general, it doesn't matter how much light is out in the day. They won't take anything larger than a Jackson. Is Jackson the 20 or is it Jefferson? I never know which J it is. But Mr. J, they won't take anything larger than him in the deep hours of the night. So what are you doing traveling around with a what? Is it? It's not Hamilton, right? Hamilton's 10. Dare I say it's Franklin? I don't know who Franklin is. But who the fuck is on the $50 bill? Why are you traveling around with that, huh? That's like bringing a slingshot. Just think about this here. It's like bringing a slingshot to a finger painting get together. You don't need that here. That's just making things weird. Like if you pull that out, everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, okay. What are you doing with that?" We were trying to have fun. We were trying to like express ourselves and have a good time. And now that you've taken that out of your back pocket, everyone's got like this question they want to ask, but no one knows who should go first, right? Because we all have one, and they're probably all slightly different, but kind of the same. But what the fuck is that? All right, what are you doing? Imagine being a pick me with a slingshot, just whipping it out, and then you put it on the table at lunch, and you keep kind of like making a hint of it. You're like, oh, you can move your soda over here. I got some space. I can just move my slingshot. Just keep fishing for an inquiry about your slingshot. You got enough room over there? I got some room over here. I mean, so much extra room, I can fit my whole slingshot. Usually, regulation size tables can't usually fit a slingshot. This is cool. This sandwich shop, that they have big enough tables for my slingshot, which is in front of you. Did you know I had this, by the way? That I had a slingshot? Do you know how to shoot a slingshot? And they're like, if I did, I would use it on you right now because shut the fuck up. How about that? But imagine that. People always talk about pick-me's in these like very pedestrian ways. Like, oh, this person liking a thing that not a lot of people like. But no one ever talks about what kind of equipment, right? What kind of accoutrements, what kind of thinking of a word, and I can't come up with it. But yeah, no one ever thinks about the weapons people hold. Like I bet a guy with a crossbow, that's a little scary, right? Because it's so big. But a slingshot, it's nice because it can fit. It can probably even collapse, right? You can bend it at the neck. Anywho, thank you so much for the support on the last episode. A lot of comments. I know I complained about it last week, so thank you for answering my call, picking up. Can you now? I'm gonna seem desperate here, but can you do it again? Would that be too much to ask? Can we do this again? You ever hang out with a friend and then you're like, "When's the next time we're gonna see each other?" Huh? And they're like, "I don't know." And you're like, "Oh, okay. Oh, so you want me dead, huh?" Well, lucky for you, I got a slingshot in my back pocket. You can just use it on me right now. But no, I hope I'm not coming off as clingy, some might even say. But could you, if you're not doing anything else, like if you're free that day, could you leave a like on the video and like leave a comment too? Am I awkward? I'm sorry. Shit. I know. I was giving off a vibe, wasn't I? Like things were good until now, but no, they weren't good. No, things were pretty good. I wouldn't call it that. No, things were okay. Things were copacetic at the worst, so that's good. Things were going so good until now, but I fucked the vibe, didn't I? Ooh, shit. Sorry. But if you could do that, if you could leave a like and a comment, because I really appreciate the support, and you guys answered the call last week, and I want to say thank you so much. And what better way to say thank you than, of course, a song recommendation? Who would have seen that one coming? Aries made a new song. I've been listening to Aries since like 2016, since the You're Not Precious days. Or no, was it 2016? 2017? I think it was 2017 because I was finishing up my senior year of high school. Whoa there, aged yourself. Hey, what was that? Sorry? You know I carry, right? A slingshot, sure. And I don't have any pebbles ready because I'm not legally allowed to carry the pebbles with me. I can only carry the slingshot. But yeah, under legal jurisdiction, it is technically a stick when I don't have the pebbles. But you know I carry, right? So you better watch your fucking tone with that shit. 2017? Oh, your 10 years coming up. I know that. You don't think I know that? But In the Flesh by Aries, he just made a new song. I think he's coming out with a new album soon. I think basically every song Aries has made, and this was no exception. In the Flesh by Aries. Check it out. I think he released it last week, and this episode was released today. At the time it was released, of course. That goes without saying. It was Tuesday on Tuesday, some are saying. But thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Your support always means the most, and I hope I can count on you again, because that would be fantastic for us. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you next week. Okay?